What should you do if you don't have a lot of trading capital and there are companies out there that are offering to fund you? Should you use a service like this, or should you avoid them entirely? Today I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of using a company like FTMO to fund you as a trader. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to give you my honest feedback. This is not a sponsored video or anything like that. This is my honest, raw opinion about these sort of services. So stay tuned. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nick. I talk about trading and investing here on my channel, and I try and keep it real. So today we're talking about something that is a very common interest for a lot of traders out there. And this is the FTMO challenge, or FTMO the company, which is basically a prop firm that allows traders to get funding for their account. Now again, as I said in the beginning of the video, this is not a sponsored video. I'm not being, paid or anything like that to say anything. This is just my honest opinion about the FTMO company and the offerings that they have out there. So the thing about FTMO is that they kind of make this claim that, okay, we fund good traders. And I think that most cases that is actually true. So a lot of times people who don't have a lot of capital look to FTMO as a potential way to get funded for their trading because they don't have a lot of capital, right? A lot of times the biggest struggle for new traders is that not that they don't have the skills or that they can't get profitable, it's that they can't fund themselves with enough money to actually make their skills worthwhile. If you only have $1,000 and let's say you're able to make 20 to 30% per year, which by investing in trading standards is actually really, really solid considering most people just lose money. That's actually still not that much of a return, right? That's $200 to $300 a year. But what if you could absolutely have way more capital given to you or allocated to you and you can keep a part of your profit? Well, that's kind of the idea of what prop firms like FTMO offers. They say, hey, we'll give you capital if you've got the skills. You just have to trade and you get to keep a piece and so on and so forth. But why would they do that if they can't just trade the money themselves? Well, there is a business around this, and I think that it is an honest business. I don't think that this is a scam or anything like that personally, but I want to talk about some of the pitfalls for some of you guys who are out there trying to get funded desperately. I personally would stop right away if you don't actually have consistency on your own for 6 to 12 months without trying to get funded, because the problem is a lot of times what people end up doing is they go into this program thinking that, okay, well, yeah, I'd love to get funded, so let me just sign up for an FTMO challenge. Well, here is the deal. So we scroll down here and we say, okay, I want to get funded. So I've chosen, okay, my currency is US dollar, a normal amount of risk, that's good with me, and I'd like to sign up to get a $10,000 account. Sounds good, right? Well, here is the tricky part. So if you sign up for a $10,000 account, in order to get to the point where you get a $10,000 account given to you, from my view here, what we see is that you have to go through the FTMO challenge. And what you'll see is that there is a refundable fee down here at the bottom. Now, what that means is that you have to pay for a challenge, meaning there's a 30-day trading period that you have to go through in order to qualify to actually get that $10,000 account. Now, FTMO, they're smart here. They don't want to just give out money to people who don't know what they're doing, right? They want to see that you actually have some sort of profitability before they let you trade their money. Now, we have to be careful here though, because what actually happens, and this is the reality of it, is a lot of people sign up, they fail the FTMO challenge, and they lose out on their 155 euro or whatever they pay to do the challenge. Now the reason for that is a couple different things. Number one, most traders just aren't great traders. Let's be completely honest about this. Most people just aren't going to make money and they're not going to do well in the FTMO challenge. That's my first number one mistake with these challenges or these prop firms, is people just want to get funded, but they don't actually have the skills yet. Make sure if you're going to do this, if you're going to look into these sort of things, my opinion, make sure that you actually have the skills to pay the bills, because otherwise you're just going to be spending money on a challenge like this and not getting anything out of it. So that's my first kind of personal warning opinion. So the next part of that is that you need to be aware of some of the rules and regulations on these challenges, because these are not normal trading conditions available to retail traders. Let's look at some of the other things. So we already talked about the trading period, right? We have a 30-day attempt to pass this challenge. But we also need to look at the requirements, which are actually pretty intense. They're steep requirements in order to actually get a funded account. This is why, personally, I do not use accounts like this because they limit the way that I trade. Now, I have to disclaim that also. I don't need capital. Fortunately, I have capital to trade, and I've built up money that is meaningful to me to trade and actually make money off of that. So I don't need to be funded. For the people out there who need to be funded, they don't have nothing to trade with. I'm not saying this is total waste or not worth looking into, but you have to be aware of some of the requirements that FTMO places on their accounts in order to pass the challenge. It's a little bit steep. So let's take a look. The minimum trading days, you need to actively be trading at least 10 days out of the 30. Okay, I don't think that's too much of a big deal. Now, the maximum daily loss here is also interesting because this is on a $10,000 account, remember, for our challenge here. If we change that to $25,000, you can see all the numbers changing, or $100,000. But you can also see the fees are going up substantially when you're trying on these bigger accounts. So $10,000, right? They're going to give you 30 days to trade it. You have to trade 10 days out of those 30, and you have to have a maximum daily loss here of $500. So you cannot lose in one single day more than $500, which doesn't sound like too much, but that's a 5% drawdown. So you can't have a 5% drawdown in one single day, which I don't think is actually too ridiculous overall. Now, the maximum loss, however, is where things get interesting because, okay, 10% drawdown is basically what they're saying, right? A $1,000 account, or I'm sorry, $10,000 account, you can't lose more than $1,000 in that given 30-day trial. That actually makes sense. That's pretty reasonable, right? You cannot have more than a 10% drawdown on your account, otherwise you fail the challenge. But here's where things get interesting. On the profit target, they're also requiring you in that 1 month to make $1,000 minimum, right? So to pass, you need to make $1,000 here from the looks of it, right? I guess, does this give any sort of highlight? No, it doesn't. But you could see, again, you need $1,000 in profit during this 30-day trial in order to actually pass the test, okay? Now, on top of that, it looks like there's a step 2 where we need to get verified, and there's a 60-day trading period where we have 10 days you have to be trading, max daily loss of 500, and you need to still make $500. So this is like a round 2. Now, you only get your money refunded here, so it says refundable fee if you make it to the very end. So you have to pass both of these challenges, meaning that in this second part, so you need to make 10% gains on the first month and at least 5% gains in the second month. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but when you're talking about max daily losses of 500 and a maximum loss overall of $1,000, you're basically requiring quite a bit here in order to credit as or pass as a winning trader here. Because when you are going for 10% in a month, you are going to be taking a little bit more risk. Inevitably, that's just what's going to happen. If you're risking 3% per trade, it only takes a 3 or 4 trade losing streak to actually be beyond the point of failure. So I personally think that these requirements are a little bit tricky for newer traders especially. Even myself, I don't know that I would pass this consistently because 10% per month is actually a lot. That's new traders don't want to hear that, but again, when you have $1 million to trade with, or $100,000 in this case, if you got a $100,000 account, 10% per month, that's 10 grand. That's a lot of money, right? So you have to think of percentages as being more significant when you were talking about bigger amounts of trading capital. So my opinion, when I take an overall look at the FTMO challenge, I would say that if you are interested in getting into the FTMO challenge or trying to get funded, know that the odds are a little bit stacked against you. You have to really know your stuff, and you have to have a really good month. If you don't have a really good month, you're not going to pass, and you're going to be out your 155 euro, right? So keep that in mind if you're going to be looking at it. These are kind of steep requirements. I understand why they do it, because they are a prop firm. They don't want to be handing out money to people who don't know what they're doing. However, know that the odds are very stacked against you to get funded, and most likely most traders are just going to be out there 155 euro or whatever that is in US dollars or wherever you are, right? very, very tricky, very, very tough, not easy for the average person. And even a successful trader, I would not be able to pass this every single month by any means. There are months where I make less than 10%. There are even months where I make negative percentage gains, and that is the reality of trading. So requiring a 10% and a 5% gain month over month, that's tricky. So again, just my personal opinion. If you really need funding, again, make sure you really know your stuff on these prop firms. That would be my personal opinion. But that is what I have, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this, and maybe this was helpful to some of you guys who are interested in getting funded. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. We'll see you back in the next video.